नहीं 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 मैडम, इसमें कुछ क्लियरिटी नहीं है, ऐसा कुछ ऐसा तो हमको तो लगता ही नहीं है।
नहीं जी, अभी हमें नहीं पता।
इसके बारे में तो जानकारी नहीं है।
नहीं, अभी तक तो कुछ पता नहीं है, उसका बारे में कोई आइडिया नहीं।
A day after the Supreme Court's judgment allowing only green firecrackers or eco-friendly firecrackers to be sold this Diwali, confusion persists. Manufacturers haven't produced any green crackers. Sellers don't know what green crackers are, and citizens can't seem to find any in the market.
इसका कुछ आइडिया ही नहीं है हमें कुछ भी।
ये सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने पूरा क्लियर तो किया नहीं है। अभी लोगों को इस बारे में कोई नॉलेज नहीं है, ग्रीन पटाखा क्या है क्या नहीं है, कि लोगों को कुछ नहीं पता, हमें भी नहीं पता एक्चुअली।
ग्रीन पटाखा तो हमको भी नहीं मालूम क्या है वो।
Across India, fireworks which have been banned by the Supreme Court continue to be sold in the market.
वही पुराने पटाखे बिक रहे हैं, वही मिल रहे हैं।
तो कह रहे हैं आए नहीं है मार्केट में, तो क्या कर सकते? तो अब जो पुराने हैं वही ले जा रहे हैं।
Green crackers, mandated by the Supreme Court, have the ones that use nitrogen instead of perchlorate and use negligible strontium and barium. Essentially, they produce less smoke, leave less residue, and create less noise. Mirror now asks, will we have a cleaner Diwali this year? Will India be able to implement the top court's order? Let's debate.
Well, that Supreme Court order came yesterday, and I can tell you it has not sunk in. Not only are these green crackers not to be found anywhere in the market, nobody knows what they are, and most of the traders and manufacturers tell us that the crackers you see right now are probably going to sell out, or they will reappear in the black market. The question then is, will the order be implemented at all this year? Is it possible? Or will we find ourselves again in a cloud of poisonous smoke? Joining me on the show, Dr. Sanjeev Bagai is a Padma Shri Senior Consultant and Vice Chairman of Dwarka Manithal Hospital. Anila Singh for the BJP. Rajat Rianda is an environmentalist. CA Vinod Tikmani is an advisor with the Mumbai Thane District Fireworks Dealers Association. Dr. Sujay Kantawala is a senior lawyer here in Mumbai. And of course, the Raj Manjari, former ACP Mumbai, is a police officer. I welcome you all to this conversation and I thank you for joining us. Let me start with the Traders Association to ask the obvious question. Vinod ji, आप बताइए, क्या ट्रेडर्स को मालूम है कि ग्रीन क्रैकर क्या है? क्या ग्रीन क्रैकर अवेलेबल है मार्केट में?
मैम, एक मैं थोड़ा क्लियर करना चाहूँगा, जो ग्रीन क्रैकर्स का रेस्ट्रिक्शन है एज ऑफ नाउ सिर्फ दिल्ली और एनसीआर में है। आउट ऑफ दिल्ली एनसीआर ग्रीन क्रैकर का कोई रेस्ट्रिक्शन नहीं है। जो पुराना क्रैकर है वो बिक सकता है। एंड ग्रीन क्रैकर जो आप पूछ रहे हैं, दैट शुड बी कंपेरेटिवली लेस पॉल्यूटिव, लेस नॉइज पोल्यूशन और एयर पोल्यूशन होना चाहिए। ऐसा कुछ प्रोडक्ट बनेगा, बट इट इज़ ऑल सजेशंस, इट विल टेक टाइम। कल तक जो प्रोडक्ट लीगल था, हम लोग 6000 करोड़ की इंडस्ट्री है, एक दिन में या 6 दिन में या 14 दिन में जब दिवाली पड़ी हुई है, उतने टाइम में ये बन के डिलीवर होना, इट्स एन इम्प्रैक्टिकल थिंग। और उस हिसाब से सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने ऑर्डर दिया हुआ है कि इट शुड बी फर्स्ट इम्प्लीमेंटेड इन दिल्ली एंड एनसीआर एंड देन फॉर द रेस्ट ऑफ इंडिया.
Well, Sujay Kantawala is with us on the show. Sujay, you've had a chance to look at the order.
Yes, right.
Do you agree that it's to be implemented only in Delhi NCR?
No, I feel that this order is pan-India. What my friend on the debate said that it is only for this region, I would not agree, I have not subscribed. Yes, one can look at it that way, that you start with Delhi and NCR, but it goes across India. See, the Supreme Court's orders are for the purpose of being implemented throughout India.
Yes, I just want to read this out. In para 42 of the order, it said, we accept the aforesaid measures suggested by the Union of India.
That's right.
And we direct the Union of India and other concerned authorities to implement the same with immediate effect.
Absolutely.
So if the Union of India is implementing it, then it's all over the country,
So
isn't that
Article
true?
141 comes into play, where the order of the Supreme Court right from Kashmir to Kanyakumari is binding on all of us, and every government authority under Article 144 has to act in aid in implementation of the Supreme Court order. Look, Faye, Supreme Court, actually it's the timing. You see, I'm sure if this order perhaps would have come 2-3 months earlier,
yes,
possibly we would be in a better position to understand and interpret it. But now there is a review. I am told that there is a review petition which has been filed. I am sure the Supreme Court is going to grant that indulgence and have a relook at it, and I'm sure that the Supreme Court, perhaps though they were represented earlier, the traders and other commercial organizations, I'm sure that the Supreme Court will hear them and perhaps interpret it further so that this confusion that has arisen, and look at it from this angle. Faye, this environmental hazard, one cannot say that it's only because of crackers or it's only because of something else or burning hay or grass. But crackers definitely, and the chemicals that are used, the harmful chemicals, definitely they're a serious threat to the life of others.
Yes.
Including the persons who burn and burst these crackers.
Yes, we have fires every year.
Absolutely.
We have explosions every year.
Yeah, and small children. I mean, we have friends in Delhi and all the surrounding areas. It's pathetic. There's asthma increase. There are so many other, and these residues, these particles, they remain embedded in your lungs.
Yes, I just want to put out there, we do have a report here from the Air Laboratory, and this is Diwali last year. According to this report, there is empirical, undeniable data that PM10, PM2.5 and other poisonous gases in the air go up substantially from before Diwali and after Diwali.
Absolutely.
There is no doubt about it, and which is what this entire judgment has been based on. I can see Vinod has his hand up again. He has a response. Vinod, go ahead.
Ma'am, I had to just say this, कि the conditions in Delhi and other states is completely different. Delhi's geographical condition is it is closed from all the parts, and it is a construction hassle and the burning of paddy which creates this problem, not just firecrackers. There are various things for pollution, creating pollution, that is AC is there, and everybody today is now in the
those
debate also
arguments,
sitting in the AC room.
one second.
And that is creating
Vinodji,
pollution and no one is talking about
those
that.
might be fair
And
arguments, but they
we
should
are
have
on the
been made
10th
before the
point.
Supreme Court.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not arguing against the order. We're saying, can we implement the order? The order is already
That
come.
is also mentioned in the order itself, that the component of the firecrackers is not clear as of now.
Rajat Rihanna is an environmentalist out of Delhi. Rajat, go ahead, please.
Yeah, all right. So first of all, I think what the Supreme Court here has done is that they have balanced Article 21, which is right to life, under which right to clean air comes, and Article 19(1)(g), which allows for right to trade and occupation. Now, legally, it's a very smart judgment, but the implementation on ground is going to be very difficult. As far as firecrackers are concerned, there is no doubt at all that firecrackers are extremely hazardous to health. In fact, there is a research done by Pune-based Chess Research Foundation, which found out that snake tablet produces 60,000 micrograms per meter cube of particulate matter. A luddy of 1,000 produces 47,500 micrograms per meter cube, and the healthy standards are supposed to be 100. And you see every year after Diwali, there is a 3 to 9 times spike in the particulate matter. And if he's saying that Delhi is different from other places, let's keep all the other aspects of air pollution aside. It is an undeniable scientific fact that firecrackers are extremely hazardous to health. That is why the Supreme Court, in its smart judgment, has said that the hazardous firecrackers need to be phased out and the green crackers need to be brought in. But where are these green crackers? These green crackers don't exist. Manufacturers themselves will tell you that these green crackers don't exist. In fact, the emission standards that the Supreme Court is expecting according to PESO, they don't exist right now. They're supposed to come in. So I think in doing this, Supreme Court has also in its way passed the buck to enforcement agencies. They have put the station house officers of local police stations responsible. But I do not know how far this implementation will go, because we see this every year. Last year, the complete ban was not enforced. This year, this complicated ban which goes beyond a layman's understanding, how this will be enforced, I'm really doubtful about that.
Right, Anila Singh with the BJP. Anila Singh, obviously, like Rajat was just saying, the ball is now in the enforcement agencies and the government's court. The governments have to now enforce this particular regulation. How will we enforce it? Is it possible to do so in the next 14 days?
Actually, I am in tune with all my co-panelists, because I totally agree. Diwali is round the corner, and this verdict has come out. Now, with all due respect to Supreme Court, I think verdict is good. Definitely, it is very nice seeing the health condition of the people who breathe this polluted, or I can say the poisonous gas. But now very little time is left. And if we talk about the implementation, it is going to be a Herculean task. So definitely we will expect, when I say we, it means the government and the people. They both have to come together to ensure that people do not use such poisonous firecrackers that definitely harms the health of the people, and especially small kids. But yes, if we think that only government can do it, I think it won't be possible to implement 100%. I can't deny this fact here.
Anila Singh, here's my question to you. Now, the manufacturers and the traders are telling us that these green crackers are not available in the market. They don't even know what they are. But I'll tell you where the idea of this green cracker came from. The Environment Ministry of the Government of India, who wrote it in an affidavit and submitted it to the Supreme Court, saying this is a good suggestion, this is what we should implement. Now, why would the Government of India make this suggestion in an affidavit to the Supreme Court if you are telling us today that it's impossible to implement?
See, I am talking on very practical ground. If like it is the work of the CPCB to ensure that people use green crackers, or I can say the hawkers, they sell green cracker. But it is a Herculean task, as I told you, and people they want to firecracker on Diwali. So it is going to be very difficult to show that whatever is being sold as cracker is green. So if people also come forward, even they
Anila Singh, why would the government of India?
Then only it will be possible.
Okay, let me rephrase the question. This green cracker that we're talking about, that the government of India recommended to the Supreme Court, has not got a clearance from the government of India so that manufacturers can start manufacturing it. That clearance approval has not even come. So why would you recommend it to the Supreme Court if you know it cannot be manufactured?
Okay, I totally understand your question, and recommendation definitely is for the noble cause, and the verdict has also come out. But the only thing is that yes, hardly any time is left for the Diwali. Manufacturing, supplying, and then selling. It is, I can't simply say lie on your show that it is going to be implemented 100% whatever the Supreme Court has said. But again, I can only say
is it optional to implement the Supreme Court
order? No, it's not optional. That is the problem. And therefore, I thought perhaps the government would have explained this fact and should have come out clean before the Supreme Court.
Does the government, and this is the conversation incidentally we were having about Sabrimala last week.
Yes.
Does the government have an opportunity to present its case before the Supreme Court?
Always. Always. Absolutely a fair opportunity is given. In fact, they have got Solicitor Generals, they have got Assistant Solicitor Generals, Additional Solicitor Generals.
Qualified lawyers.
Absolutely qualified, well-equipped lawyers, very intelligent lawyers.
So is it acceptable in your mind, Sujay, as a lawyer, that the government says it's not possible now?
No, I don't think so, because the Supreme Court appears to have accepted the suggestions from the Union of India stand. That there exists a category known as green crackers, and Supreme Court therefore accepted the word. And Supreme Court therefore in the judgment has dealt with this concept of green crackers, which unfortunately entire India is confused now.
Vinod Tikmani, go ahead please, very quickly. I want to bring in the doctor. Vinod Tikmani, go ahead.
Yeah, ma'am. Ma'am, the Supreme Court order is very practical. If you read point number 42, it talks about 1 and 2 point talks about the manufacture and the production is not allowed henceforth. And since from past 2 years in Delhi and NCR, no purchase was allowed. Henceforth, whatever will be purchased would be a green cracker. But such conditions are not in other than Delhi and NCR, and other than Delhi and NCR, a non-green cracker can also be sold.
No, so but where?
The Supreme Court cannot be
suppose
that
I live
across
the border of Delhi.
No, that's
I can be faced with a hazardous chemical cracker.
So I'll accept one second. Vinodji, 1 second. I accept that there might be some confusion.
Please let me speak. I never interrupted when you talked. When you spoke, please.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
It's quite clear in the order. It's quite clear.
Very clear, yes.
It's quite clear that 42(1) and 2 talks about manufacture and production is not allowed henceforth. And in point number 8, it is written in Delhi and NCR, whatever is produced cannot be sold. So that clearly means in other parts of India, if it is produced, it can be sold. And in the suggestions also it is written it should subject to PESO. And as a license
But it
holder, we
asks
sell
the Union
only
of
products
India to
which are
implement.
approved by PESO. We cannot sell the products which are not approved by PESO.
All right. Let me just point out that there were other regulations that were applicable to Delhi NCR as far as crackers were concerned, and so which is why this extra note was made. But all of the points in 42 apply to all of India. Dr. Sanjeev Bagai, here's the unfortunate bit. We got this order from the Supreme Court. It is we have a dire need for this order. But while Vinod Tikmani might be arguing for other cities, even in the Delhi NCR, when our reporter went out and checked, nobody had a green cracker, nobody knew what it was, and all of the traders said, it cannot be implemented, we won't stop. What does this mean for the people of Delhi, or for the people of India who are perhaps looking forward to a cleaner, quieter Diwali?
Hi, good evening, Faye. I think when you look at the green versus non-green crackers or the timing, I think it's very difficult to choose between a good evil and a bad evil. I think crackers cause harm. It's indisputable evidence that it is harmful to health. Now, with regards the implementation, much will depend upon how well the law enforcement authorities manage to control the timing and things. But my concern is that the non-availability of the lesser harmful part of the crackers and the implementation of the law. But having said that, I think it's important to put in public domain what do crackers do. I think most of the time the crackers are burnt in cluster areas of residential colonies, where the smoke is enveloped within the buildings. It causes serious harm. So therefore, the bursting of the cracker should be more a state or a community event in open areas where the smoke can dissipate quicker. Point number 2 is generally indulged with smaller children. I think there is a huge risk of burns and other splinter injuries in crackers. And coming to what the crackers contain, so I think it's important that everyone knows what it contains. So crackers as what firecrackers in Diwali contains is as follows. It contains sulfur dioxide, it contains nitrous oxide, it contains nitric oxide, it contains aluminium, copper, arsenic, codium. Now, all these compounds are gaseous and particulate matter. They cause kidney injury, they cause liver injury, they cause brain injury, they cause acute respiratory inflammation, including asthma. Long-term effects of this, even if it is a smaller trigger, can predispose these small children to long-term development of issues like cancer. Now, there is no religious connotations to it. I'm a staunch Hindu, I believe in myself, but to harm myself and harm my neighbors doesn't make me any greater in religion. I think we need to move away from the fact that as it is, because of the bursting population, we have serious health issues. This is a health hazard, and sooner or later we have to do away with crackers. We cannot say that these are green versus non-green or 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock. It's going to be very difficult to contain it. I think it's going to be a humongous task to contain the time limit. And no government order, no Supreme Court order is useful unless until we as a community feel for it. I think the cooperation from the society is of paramount importance. Public awareness is of paramount importance.
So the doctor recommends that if this is too hard to implement, a blanket ban is the only way forward. Sujay?
But yes, I agree with what the doctor says, and since apart from the financial part also, this actually burns a hole into your pocket. And wasn't Diwali always considered a festival of lights? That is what we thought. It was lights. And that is what we see, the beauty of the whole thing. It's a community affair. Families get together and celebrate. Where do we get all these noisy crackers which otherwise cause harm? So I think as a whole we need to have a relook at this whole thing. Take kind of inspiration from the Supreme Court judgment and the sentiment, and look forward and implement the order.
In fact, one thing that we keep forgetting, that you cannot compare the pollution from firecrackers to other pollution, because this is poison that gets released in the air. It's also poison residue. All of the paper that gets left behind, it has poison in it, and it washes into our groundwater. It doesn't disappear. This poison doesn't disappear. It eventually winds up in the water, in the land. It pollutes everything, and it stays there. Raj Vanjari, again, the ball is right now in the enforcement agencies' courts, the SHOs, the police officers. This very difficult task between, the government's recommendations. It keeps saying that PESO will make sure that this is enforced, but in the judgment, it is the police who have to enforce it. Do you agree with Dr. Bagai? And Dr. Bagai, I want to remind everyone, is a Padma Shri and a very senior, practitioner. Do you agree with Dr. Bagai that a blanket ban would be easier to implement?
Yes, blanket ban would have been easier because Supreme Court has passed the order, and Supreme Court's order is nothing but a law of the land, and police have been given tasks to implement. But it is so much crowdy for the police to implement this, because definitely and very, very certainly, as it has been spoke on the channel by every panelist, there is an area of doubt and confusion all over the order. And we are unable to understand. Common people is also unable to understand. Firecracker Association is also unable to understand the difference between green and non-green. And government agencies are also in confusion. Instead of this, putting a burden on police, knowing that police do not have a complete, developed, perfect, appropriate infrastructure to implement the order, Supreme Court would have considered these two important questions. When government agencies are representing to the court, suggesting some module of green crackers and all that, the Supreme Court would have addressed the question to government, asking what has happened to the present law implementation. We have Environment Protection Law, we have Pollution Control Board. What is the result of that, and why government on their level are unable to curb the menace of this pollution? Number two, government should have said, or court would have asked the government agency, we are giving this kind of conditioning order to curb the pollution. Are you prepared? Are your law enforcement agency, are your police prepared to implement this? These two things has not been done, and that's why there is a massive confusion all over the area. Government agencies suggesting something, and Supreme Court accepted it. No doubt it's a good step ahead to curb the pollution overall, but the infrastructural things are not been made clear.
Okay, Rajat, go ahead please.
Yeah, so last year there was a full ban, and according to information, police was only able to seize 4,000 kilos of firecrackers out of 50 lakh. That is 0.008%. That is 1 in every 1,000 firecrackers was only stopped. So even if there's a full ban, they're not able to do it. If there's a partial ban, they're not able to do it. And as far as the Supreme Court is concerned, I really think this is actually a very good and progressive judgment. They have tried to balance right to life and right to livelihood. They're just saying that if you want to make firecrackers, why do you have to make polluting firecrackers? Make these green firecrackers. The unfortunate thing is that making these green firecrackers is right now not possible. Therefore, all the existing firecrackers are banned. I do not think there is any confusion.
So Rajat, this is effectively then a blanket ban.
Police and the SHOs have been made accountable.
So if the ones that are available are not available, and the ones that
ban it blanket, so they should put a blanket ban, would have said it that clearly.
And the court, and I must make a point. The Supreme Court has said that any violations will be held in contempt of the court. They have made it very clear in their order that it will be held in contempt of the court. So the police have to.
Yes, if the Supreme Court was in a position had an intention to give this a blanket ban,
so these are just
one second. You are speaking at the same time. One second. Vinod, go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Yeah, ma'am. if the intention of the Supreme Court was so clear that it had to be a blanket ban, why would it write that it is not a blanket ban as of now? In the first 2 points, it is very clear: production and manufacture is not allowed, and sale, if it is produced, it should not be sold in Delhi and NCR. Rest of the country it is allowed. If they wanted to put a blanket ban, they would have clearly said till the time green crackers are not available, you cannot sell crackers. That was a simple statement to be made, but it is not made in the order. It is very clear for Delhi and NCR, because past 2 years it has not, there is no purchase there. So whatever will come next would come green. And earlier there was a talk regarding firecrackers are polluting, so those have to be banned. I would just put a point. In a day, 40 crore cigarettes are being burnt every day. Firecrackers are burnt 2 hours or 3 hours in Diwali. In a day, 40 crore cigarettes are being burnt, and those are not being banned.
I can give him the
you
statistics
put a
for
choice
that
to a
also.
person. Banning is not an option at all.
Okay,
so
one second. So cigarettes versus firecrackers. All right, cigarettes versus firecrackers. We have a doctor on the panel who can answer this question for us. Dr. Bagai, one second. In my mind, we should ban cigarettes as well.
Injurious,
but nobody's going to do that.
Injurious.
1 second. Vinod, if you want answers to your questions, you have to wait. Dr. Bagai, cigarettes versus firecrackers. If we are banning firecrackers, shouldn't we also ban cigarettes? Or should we ban cigarettes instead?
Yeah, I think we are comparing two known evils. I think let's not get into two wrongs making a right. I think what is important to understand is these 2 hours of firecrackers in cluster buildings in smaller areas, residential areas, the suspended gaseous content, which are toxic in nature, they contain free radicals, they cause acute respiratory harm in short term and long term amongst all other disorders, remain suspended in the air as a blanket for many days thereafter. We see a huge burst of patients the next morning which come in, and there are small children, there are elderlies at play, and it doesn't really make sense. What my suggestion is, just as a simple tax-paying citizen, is that even if people wish to celebrate Diwali with crackers, it should be a cleaner form of crackers. I agree with that. But let there be few designated, given safer areas, safer from physical injury and burns injury point of view, and safer from respiratory and inhalation point of view. And the government can perhaps identify 8 or 10 different locations and have a larger celebration which is much safer in nature, rather than individual houses bursting crackers right outside the main gate, right outside the buildings. There's damage to the cars, there's damage to property, we see fires, we see incidences. These are all avoidable. These are all avoidable. Let's not have a show again post Diwali and say, you know, we did discuss this, why didn't it be prevented?
Absolutely.
Right, Anila Singh is being very quiet. Anila Singh, there are now a very senior doctor, a senior police officer and a senior lawyer on the panel, all of whom, and an environmentalist, who agree that a blanket ban would be easier to implement for everyone around. It would also be healthier. Do you agree, Anila Singh?
Faye, as I told you earlier, that definitely, with all due respect to Supreme Court and the suggestion which has been made by the Ministry of Environment, that how the Diwali can be safe by using green cracker. I said that yes, verdict is very nice and we can use it as a precedent in coming time, whether it is for Diwali or Bara Wafat or Christmas, for any occasion. But now the Diwali is round the corner. So until or unless community, as Dr. Bagai said, and the implementation authorities, if they come together and they work together for the better cause, then only anything will be possible.
You're not answering my question. My question is, do you believe there should be a blanket ban on firecrackers? Blanket ban means not just Diwali. I mean political rallies. I mean Christmas. I mean New Year. I mean weddings. Everything. Bharats. Blanket ban. Exactly. Nobody should have access to firecrackers in this country. Nobody should ever be able to use them. Do you think that would be a better solution?
All right. Post-election victory situation.
Post-election victory situation.
Post-elections, we always see.
Faye, as I told you, that whether it is Diwali, Bara Wafat, Christmas, marriage, rally, anything, anything. If we have to implement this verdict of Supreme Court, definitely, at least for a few months to come, we have to work together, community and the government authorities. Otherwise, it will be very difficult.
Read some part of the Supreme Court
People should
judgment.
also understand it is for
Supreme
their
Court
own
has,
good.
the
Implementative
Supreme
authorities will be there. They will be doing their job. As
Yes.
one of our environmentalists on the panel, he said that last year also.
Okay, so Anila, you still haven't
4,000
you haven't
crackers
answered
were-
my question. My question was, do you
The
believe in a
4,000
blanket ban?
crackers
But
were
one
seized.
second, one second.
And
Sujay has
and
the
a
order
few
with
hundred
him.
people
For the
were
benefit of-
arrested as well.
Okay, all right.
For the
Sujay.
benefit of Anila ji and all the viewers, says the affidavit filed by the unions states that the ministry consulted the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, CSIR, National Environment Engineering Research Institute,
Yes.
the NERI, the PISO, CPCB regarding concrete solutions and short-term measures to be adopted to tackle the pollution problem which occurs due to firecrackers.
Yes.
And thereafter suggestions were given which have been tabulated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes.
And thereafter the Supreme Court has held that the manufacture, sale, use of joint, that is these lorries, etc. crackers is completely banned, which causes huge air, noise and solid waste problems. Even e-commerce from the internet. Therefore, Supreme Court said pan-India. E-commerce
Yes,
is pan-India.
it's pan-India.
So therefore, Flipkart, Amazon, etc. by illustration, they have said they shall accept online orders, effect online sales. No. So therefore, it clearly says over here, this has to be implemented. This was on the advice and suggestions and assistance
Of the government.
which
Sir,
was
online
given by
sale
the
was
Council
anyways
for
not
the
allowed
Union
because
of
only
India.
licensed
I am
holders
sure
can
for the
sell it.
betterment of the public.
But you know, and the question that we have to ask now is, if these green crackers are not available and the ones that are available have been banned, is that a blanket ban?
Yes, you have to read it that way.
That's a blanket ban. So the question I'm asking my viewers as well.
If the intention of the Supreme Court was so clear that they have to put a blanket ban. Sorry.
One second, Vinodji, the intention
I
of
didn't
the
get the
Supreme
question.
Court
basically
is
trying to protect the right to livelihood.
the intention of the Supreme Court is you
Don't
will
try
be
to
able to
interpret
sell
the
green
judgment of
crackers
Supreme
when
Court.
they are available. In the meantime, you can't sell anything else.
As far as
but
noise levels
I'm broadening the scope of this debate to say, should there be a blanket ban? If this is too difficult to implement, also the question of you can only burst crackers between 8 o'clock and 10 o'clock or between 11:45 and 12:45. How are we ever going to enforce that? A blanket ban would be much easier to
blanket
enforce.
ban-
I'll
not
give
an
you a small
option.
example. I'm sure all my friends are
Ban
here
was
hearing.
not an option.
If
so
the amount,
Supreme Court has
if
given
a
a
family
midway and
spends
they have
about
told
10 to
that
15,000
in
rupees.
particular areas there has to be.
One second, one at a time, please. Sujay first.
If a family spends 10 to 15,000 or maybe 25,000 rupees on the purchase of firecrackers, if that amount is utilized to maybe give 5,000 rupees to an orphanage, buy clothes for the family and bring happiness to the family, you think even a good businessman, even from that financial point of view, what is the pointing in burning your money bursting firecrackers? So therefore, even from a financial point of view, I think we need to look at completely banning firecrackers in India. We have enough pollution problems. We don't want to add to those.
Right. Panduranga Narayan Swami on the phone line from Mumbai.
It would be an easier solution.
Mr. Narayan Swami, go ahead, please.
Yeah, Faye, the first thing is, I think there is unnecessary confusion in the panel about the Supreme Court order.
Yes.
The Supreme Court is wise enough to say that unless there are green crackers, you shall not manufacture all or sell other crackers. What it means is, till such time as you manufacture green crackers in this country, stop selling or manufacturing other crackers. You shall not sell. It's a wise decision because I think the government tried to act a little smart by saying that green crackers should be there without specifying that green crackers are not existent today. The Supreme Court is even wiser. They said, okay, till such time as the green crackers are made, you shall not sell it. And I think that's a wise decision.
That's a wise thing. You agree. All right.
Yeah.
We had Vinod. Vinod had an argument against that. Vinod, go ahead. What's your argument?
Ma'am, if the Supreme Court's intention was that, in point number 8, it has specifically mentioned even those crackers which have already been produced, they do not fulfill the conditions mentioned in section 2 and 3 above, will not be sold in Delhi and NCR. If it is produced, they cannot be sold in Delhi and NCR. If they are not produced, they cannot be manufactured and in henceforth. It is not allowed to manufacture and sell, production and sale. So do the reference to context properly, sir. If it is manufacture and sale, this cannot be manufactured henceforth. If it is already manufactured, they cannot be sold in Delhi and NCR.
Okay,
So it can be sold in other places other than Delhi and NCR.
Lot of hair splitting.
There's no misconception in that, sir. It is very clear.
I'm sure
If
that
they
I
wanted a blanket ban, why would they
because
write
he's a
this?
businessman who deals with firecrackers. I sympathize. He has to take that
Vinod,
stand.
what is your argument against a blanket ban?
Sir, there's no sympathy. It's a 6,000 crore industry. We do and make an order in January. We get all our stocks by now. If the Supreme Court wanted it, green crackers should be replaced. How in 14 days 6,000 crore industry can manufacture the 6,000 crore product?
Sir, you and I breathe the same air.
And those
we
can
breathe
be
the same
supplied in
air. Our
Diwali.
children breathe the same air.
There was a ban last year also. There was a ban last year also. Why did you produce it?
First in Delhi and NCR and then for the rest of India.
So basically what you're saying,
Vinod is only
Tikmani,
worried
is
about 6,000 crores.
Sorry, it was not banned in you are mistaken. You have not read the last year's order as well.
The Supreme Court has said Article
Alright,
21
Dr. Bagai.
supersedes
So
Article
Dr.
19.
Bagai, what Vinod is saying,
Don't try to
let's
interpret the orders.
one second. What Vinod is saying, one second.
You don't try to interpret the orders. We are enough.
Right. What Vinod is saying is that we'll bring down the
This is my
pollution for Delhi
interpretation. This is
NCR.
my
Let everybody
interpretation.
else
It could be
breathe
anyone's
the
else
smog.
interpretation as
Dr. Bagai, please. Dr. Bagai, go ahead.
Self-defeating argument.
Yeah, hi. I'm just patiently listening to the 6,000 crore industry figure. It doesn't make sense at all to say that it's a 6,000 crore industry and we're trying to protect it, whereas the harm caused by this 6,000 crore industry is approximately maybe 10 times that amount, right? And the second issue is it's easier to spend even 1/5 of the money which we will be wasting on buying these crackers which go up in few seconds than to rehabilitate these families and actually give them a life start ahead. It's a double whammy for us. We are wasting money buying crackers and then we are spending 10 times more in trying to treat the harm these crackers have caused, trying to pretend that we are protecting a 6,000 crores industry. It makes complete nonsense to me.
I.K. Aluwalia on the phone line from Delhi. Mr. Aluwalia, go ahead, please.
Yeah, I quite agree with what this gentleman has said. Not only that it is a nuisance to the people, to the small children, to the innocent, babies, and but it is a wastage of money and which can otherwise be used for some more useful purposes. And there should be a total ban because why to create a confusion as to how much it should be and who will implement it and who will be responsible? All these things are very difficult to decide. There should be absolute ban, not only for Diwali, for Dussehra, as also for marriage parties and, so many other occasions.
Yes.
And some more technical things should be brought into the mind of the people. Yes.
Very well said. Last word, Dhanraj Vanjari. Again, here the Supreme Court has said that the SHOs will be held in contempt of court if this order is not followed. Various people telling us it's impossible to follow. Various people telling us that they're interpreting the order in different manners. A blanket ban, Mr. Vanjari, is that the solution?
Yes, definitely. Blanket ban would be a solution. Now somebody is trying to interpret the Supreme Court order, keeping their profit in the pocket. I don't understand on the panel if somebody is saying only 6,000 crore, 6,000 crore. I have a serious objection. He is forgetting where this country is spending 60,000 crore on health hazard. Look after that. Don't look after the individual profit you are making at the cost of human life. Now, as regards to the SHO's implementation over here, and he will be held responsible for contempt, I think, Faye, it will take some time even to get the police machinery equipped well and sensitized with this particular order of Supreme Court. Similarly, people are also required to come and participate with their clear and peaceful conscience to implement this order. Then it will be okay. Maybe a step forward towards curbing the menace of the pollution after all in the entire country, but it will definitely take some time. And I think as the time will pass, there will be some experiment percolations and results which will again go to the government and to the court. There will be some again review and some revampation in this implementation, and hopefully everything would be set at right. Perhaps all these three factors, that implementing agencies like police, the public And the government who is making policies and suggesting and having normal suggestion for green cracker will come on one way and will decide that there will be a very pollution free society and clear atmosphere for our young children to live in this country.
Right, we've run out of time on this conversation, but I promise you that we will continue to talk about it, because while we have this Supreme Court judgment, perhaps it is time to talk about a blanket ban on fireworks in India. There, I said it. A blanket ban on fireworks in India across time zones, across festivals, across events, across celebrations. Fireworks should be taken off the shelves. We should not make it available to our children. We should not make it's poison. We should not make it available to our families. It poisons the air, it poisons the land, and it poisons the water. India spends, on last count, $358 million, and this is a 2015 number, simply on treatment of asthma. That number, I'm sure, has gone up drastically in the last several years as we have continued to pollute our environment. The argument of cars also pollute, air conditioners also pollute, and several other things also pollute. Nothing pollutes as badly and as poisonously as firecrackers. India should ban firecrackers. No firecrackers for Christmas, or for New Year, or for weddings, or for celebrations after election victories, or for any other festival. Because if we don't do this now, we are, for those 5 minutes of joy of lighting a firecracker, putting the lives of our children at risk in a manner that we can't even imagine. Their lungs will never be normal. Their respiratory systems will never be normal. We cannot possibly be okay with that. It is time to make some hard decisions. Ban firecrackers and ban them all around. Thanks for watching.